Blue-ringed octopus, the size of a golf ball, enough venom to kill 26 adult humans. The blue rings don't exist until it decides you're a threat. At rest, it's a muted brownish animal you'd overlook entirely in a tidal pool or clinging to a reef shelf. Threatened, iridescent cobalt rings pulse rapidly across its skin like a system activating in real time. That visual warning lasts approximately 2 seconds before it bites. The venom is tetrodotoxin, produced not by the octopus itself, but by symbiotic bacteria living inside its salivary glands. It binds permanently to sodium channels in nerve cells, cutting off all signal transmission to muscle tissue. Breathing stops. The bite is nearly painless. Victims have been envenomated and spent several minutes unaware anything had entered their bloodstream. There is no anti-venom. Survival depends entirely on reaching mechanical ventilation before respiratory muscles fail completely. The animal that just stopped your breathing fits comfortably inside a coffee cup.
The inland taipan, the snake that makes every other venomous reptile look like it's playing with training wheels. One bite from this Australian nightmare delivers enough venom to kill 100 adult humans. Not injure, kill. And it doesn't waste time deciding where to strike. Fast, precise, and loaded with a neurotoxin cocktail that shuts down your nervous system in under an hour. The kicker? It's not even aggressive. This snake lives in remote deserts of Queensland, avoiding humans entirely. But if you somehow stumble into its territory and it feels cornered, symptoms hit within 30 to 60 minutes. Without anti-venom, coagulopathy and multi-organ failure progress over the next 6 to 48 hours. Your blood stops clotting. Your kidneys shut down. Scientists measure venom potency using something called LD50. The inland taipan scores the lowest of any snake on Earth. Translation, the smallest amount kills the fastest. Nature's most efficient assassin, and it doesn't even need a reputation. The venom does all the talking. Therizinosaurus, the dinosaur that looks like a mistake. Picture this, a body stretching nearly 10 meters long, taller than a T-Rex, but far lighter, maybe 5 tons at most. A tiny head, a pot belly, and claws nearly a meter long, not for hunting. For reaching. Therizinosaurus was a herbivore, a gentle giant armed like a slasher villain. Those claws weren't weapons of war. They were tools for pulling down branches, stripping leaves, and maybe, just maybe, scaring off predators dumb enough to try. It lived in late Cretaceous Mongolia, waddling through forests on thick pillar-like legs. Slow, awkward, absurd. And yet, it survived. Because sometimes being too weird to fight is better than being too weak to run.
Megalodon, the largest shark that ever lived, is still debated in terms of exact size, but the upper estimates based on tooth and vertebrae analysis put it between 15 and 20 meters long. The great white shark reaches 6. Megalodon's bite force is estimated at 108,000 to 182,000 newtons, the highest of any animal in the fossil record. It didn't hunt fish. Analysis of fossilized whale bones from the Miocene and Pliocene epochs shows deep parallel gouges matching megalodon tooth patterns, concentrated around fins and tails. It disabled large prey first by removing mobility, then consumed. Teeth recovered from ocean floors measure up to 18 centimeters, the size of a human hand. A single tooth was large enough that early humans who found them believed they were petrified dragon tongues. Megalodon occupied every ocean on Earth for roughly 20 million years. It went extinct approximately 3.6 million years ago, likely as cooling oceans collapsed the whale populations it depended on. The ocean didn't become safer after that. It just became less immediately fatal.
Titanoboa, the largest snake ever. Not a dinosaur, not a lizard, just 13 meters of pure muscle that made anacondas look like garden hoses. It weighed over 100 kilograms. A single vertebra was the size of a dinner plate, and it lived 60 million years ago in what's now Colombia, in swamps so hot and humid that cold-blooded giants could exist. Titanoboa didn't have venom, didn't need it. Constriction at that size doesn't squeeze, it crushes. Ribs collapse, blood flow stops, organs rupture. Prey died before they understood what grabbed them. Fossils show it ate crocodiles, not small ones, full-grown prehistoric crocodiles. Because when you're that big, everything else is food. Then the climate cooled. Snakes need heat to grow. Titanoboa shrank back into evolutionary history, leaving behind only bones and nightmares.
Cone snail. It looks exactly like a shell you'd pick up on a beach. That's precisely the problem. The cone snail fires a harpoon-tipped proboscis from a flexible tube that can reach any point on its body, including the end you're holding. The harpoon delivers conotoxin, a compound cocktail containing over 100 distinct peptides that simultaneously disrupt nerve signal transmission, block neuromuscular function, and induce full paralysis within minutes of contact. There is no anti-venom for cone snail envenomation. Not one exists anywhere in clinical use. Treatment is supportive care and waiting while the toxin works through the body. If the delivered dose is high enough, the diaphragm stops contracting. Breathing stops. Death arrives somewhere between 1 and 5 hours, with the victim remaining conscious throughout the entire process. Collectors have died holding one while admiring the pattern. The species most responsible for human fatalities is called the geography cone. It is also considered one of the most visually stunning shells in the world. Inland taipan. One bite. Enough venom to kill 100 adult humans simultaneously. The inland taipan produces the most acutely toxic venom of any snake ever measured by science. A single strike delivers approximately 44 milligrams of venom containing taipoxin, a powerful neurotoxin that degrades nerve tissue, combined with procoagulants that cause the blood to lose its clotting ability entirely. Internal hemorrhaging spreads through muscle tissue. Without anti-venom administered rapidly, death arrives within 30 to 45 minutes of a full envenomation. Here is the fact that changes everything. This snake lives in the remote channel country of Central Australia, is reclusive by nature, and has never killed a verified human being in recorded history. Not because it lacks the capability, because it avoids every opportunity. The most dangerous snake alive by pure biochemical measurement chooses, through temperament alone, not to use what it carries. That restraint is somehow more unsettling than aggression ever could be.
Komodo Dragon, the largest living lizard, proof that monsters didn't go extinct. They just got smaller and moved to Indonesia. 3 meters long, 90 kilograms, equipped with venom that drops blood pressure and induces shock. For years, scientists thought it was bacteria in their saliva. Turns out, evolution gave them venom glands. Here's the real strategy. Komodos are ambush predators. They explode from cover, bite hard, rip flesh with serrated teeth. The combination of venom and massive mechanical damage usually kills fast. If prey escapes, they track by scent. But that's a failed hunt, not the plan. The bite and wait for days myth came from watching animals that got away. When the attack works, death happens in minutes, not days. They've killed humans. Not often, but enough to remind us that apex predators don't retire. They adapt. Komodos survived volcanic eruptions, climate shifts, human expansion. They're still here because they're too efficient to fail. Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus. Late Cretaceous should have stayed there.
This pterosaur had a 10-meter wingspan, about the size of an F-16 fighter jet. It stood as tall as a giraffe when folded up, which is a sentence that shouldn't exist but does. It lived 68 million years ago during the late Cretaceous, soaring over dinosaurs like a leather-winged surveillance drone. But here's the kicker. It didn't just fly. It walked. On all fours. Like a vampire bat the size of a small plane. Scientists believe it was a terrestrial stalker, folding its wings and hunting on foot, stabbing prey with a beak longer than a human arm. Imagine getting killed by an airplane that learned to walk. Yeah, the Cretaceous was unhinged. When the asteroid hit, Quetzalcoatlus vanished with the rest.